Welcome back to the Sleepy Science Vault. If you are here, it means you have found your way to this quiet place again, or perhaps for the very first time. And either way, we are glad you are here. This is a place that exists entirely for you, for this moment right now, when the day has finally run its course and your body has carried you through everything it carried you through, and all that is left is the soft reward of rest. So let's begin there, with the rest that is already happening, somewhere inside you, whether you've noticed it yet or not. Let your body settle into wherever you are lying or sitting. Feel the surface beneath you. Really feel it, with the full weight of your body. Not with effort, not with concentrated muscle tension, but with the simple, gravitational act of allowing, of letting the mattress or the cushion or the blanket hold you, which it will, without complaint, for as long as you need. Let your shoulders soften, not dramatically, not with great performance. Just allow them, very gently, to release whatever small amount of holding they are doing. Even a millimeter lower is enough. Even the faintest easing. Your shoulders have been carrying the world all day, and the world can be set down now. Notice your breathing. Just notice it, the cool air arriving and the warmer air leaving. The way your chest or your belly rises slightly and then falls, rises slightly and then falls, in a rhythm that requires nothing from you, that continues without your management or participation, that has been happening since your very first breath in this world and will continue quietly and faithfully through every hour of sleep. Your breath doesn't need you. It will carry on beautifully. You can simply observe it, softly, from a slight distance, the way you might watch a slow wave on a still beach. Allow the weight of the day to quietly fade. Not all at once, not with any effort, just allow the edges of it to soften, the way a photograph fades when it has been left in the sun. Gradually, without drama, becoming lighter and less defined. Whatever happened today is still there, somewhere. It can be found tomorrow if you need it. Tonight, it doesn't have to be close. It can be as far away as you want it to be. There is nowhere else you need to be tonight. There is nothing else that requires your attention. You have arrived at the only place that matters right now, which is here, in the dark, in the quiet, in the particular peace that descends on the hours between midnight and morning. Tonight, we are going to go somewhere extraordinary. We are going to go somewhere that almost no human being has ever been, and yet somewhere that covers more of our planet than any other environment. Somewhere vast and silent and ancient and astonishing. Somewhere that holds more life, more mystery, more unexplained phenomenon, more extraordinary biology than almost any other place on Earth. We are going down into the deep ocean, down past the reach of sunlight, past the cold thermocline, past the continental shelves into the open abyss, past the midnight zone into the Hadal depths, where the pressure is so extreme it would crush an unprotected human body in an instant, and where, impossibly, beautifully, life still exists. We are going to move through the ocean tonight the way light moves through it, slowly, changing quality with depth, eventually fading into something soft and dim and deeply still. We are not in a hurry. The ocean is not in a hurry. The ocean has been here for 4.5 billion years, and it will be here long after this night is over, turning its slow, enormous currents through the darkness of the deep. Come with me, gently, Let the water close over your thoughts, very softly, very slowly. Let everything become a little cooler, a little quieter, a little further from the surface. We are going down. The ocean begins at the surface, of course, at the place where the air meets the water. That thin, restless interface where weather and sea negotiate with each other endlessly, where waves are formed by wind, and wind is shaped by the temperature of the water below it, where the salt spray rises and the rain falls back down, where the boundary between two enormous planetary systems exists in a state of permanent, gentle motion. If you have ever stood at the edge of the sea and felt the particular quality of the air there, the dampness, the salt, the feeling that you are breathing something older and more mineral than ordinary air, you have been touching the outermost edge of what we are going to explore tonight, the merest suggestion of it, the membrane between the world you know and the world below. The ocean covers approximately 71% of the Earth's surface. That number is easy to say and almost impossible to truly feel. 71%. It means that if you could see the Earth from space, not from a photograph, but truly see it with full awareness of scale, you would see a planet that is mostly water, a blue planet, a water planet, a world whose dominant feature is not the continents we live on, not the mountains and the grasslands and the cities, but the ocean that surrounds all of it, holding the continents like islands in a sea that has no edge, only coastlines. The total volume of the ocean is roughly 1.335 billion cubic kilometers. That is a number so large it stops functioning as a number and becomes something more like a philosophical statement. If you try to imagine filling a container with that much water, a container 1 kilometer on each side, filled once, twice, 1,000 times, you would need to fill that container more than 1 billion times. The human mind doesn't really process 1 billion of anything. We process small numbers. We process faces and distances we can walk, and quantities we can hold in our hands. 1 billion is beyond the easy reach of intuition, and 1 billion cubic kilometers of water is simply, quietly, beyond comprehension. And yet we live on the surface of it. We navigate it. We have fished it and crossed it and drawn maps of it and written poems about it for as long as human beings have been human beings. The ocean is one of our oldest relationships, perhaps the oldest, if you count the fact that life itself began there, that every living thing on this planet is, in the most literal biological sense, a descendant of ocean chemistry. We came from the sea, not metaphorically, not poetically, literally, in the deepest biological sense. The story of life on Earth begins in the ocean, in shallow, ancient water, in chemical reactions that somehow, in a process that is still not fully understood, that represents one of the great remaining mysteries of science, crossed the threshold from non-living chemistry into something that replicated, that responded to its environment, that organized itself into cells. And so, when you feel something in your chest, when you stand at the ocean's edge, when there is a quality to that encounter that seems to go beyond simple sensory pleasure, that feels almost like recognition, it may be that your cells remember something that your mind does not, that some ancient record written into the chemistry of your body knows the sea in a way that is older than thought. Let that settle around you softly. The ocean has depth the way a mountain has height, as a defining feature, as the quality that makes it what it is. The average depth of the ocean is approximately 3,688 meters. That is roughly 3.5 kilometers, measured straight down from the surface to the seafloor. To put that in a human scale, if you were to walk that distance on flat ground, it would take you somewhere between 40 minutes and an hour. A comfortable walk, an easy afternoon. But straight down, it is not an easy afternoon. Straight down, it is a transition through worlds, through zones of light and pressure, and temperature, and biology that are as different from each other as the surface of the Earth is from its deep interior. The ocean is not uniform. It is layered in the most extraordinary way, each layer with its own physical character, its own chemistry, its own community of life, adapted to conditions that would be lethal in any other layer. We begin in the sunlit zone, the epipelagic zone, the uppermost 200 meters of the ocean, where sunlight still penetrates strongly enough to support photosynthesis, where phytoplankton, microscopic plant-like organisms, each one invisible to the naked eye, perform roughly half of all the photosynthesis on Earth. Half. Every second breath you take, the oxygen in it was made not by a forest, not by a meadow, but by something too small to see. Floating in the sunlit surface, waters of the ocean, quietly and ceaselessly converting sunlight and carbon dioxide into oxygen. Think about that for a moment. The air in your lungs right now, the air that is moving in and out with that slow, soft rhythm, half of it has its origins in the surface of the sea. The ocean is breathing for us every moment without our knowledge or gratitude or awareness in a process that has been running continuously for more than 2.5 billion years. Long before any plant grew on land, long before any animal drew a breath, long before the first fish, the first amphibian, the first creature that dragged itself onto a shore and tried something new. The phytoplankton were already there, already breathing, already making the atmosphere habitable. They are still there now, billions upon billions of them, in the sunlit waters of every ocean on the planet. So dense in some regions that they color the water a distinctive blue-green that can be seen from satellites in orbit. From 200 miles up, the breath of the ocean is visible. From space, you can see the places where the ocean is most intensely alive, where the upwelling currents bring cold, nutrient-rich water from the deep toward the surface, and the phytoplankton bloom in response, and the water turns green, and the entire food web of the sea lights up from the bottom of it. All of that from something too small to see with the naked eye. There is something quietly humbling in that scale reversal, in the fact that the largest ecological system on our planet is sustained at its base by organisms of microscopic size. That the whales, the largest animals that have ever lived on Earth, depend ultimately on a foundation made of organisms that are billions of times smaller than they are. That complexity in size and mass at the top of a food web ultimately trace back to something invisible. The ocean reminds us, again and again, that size and importance are not the same thing. Below the sunlit zone, the light begins to change. At around 200 meters, sunlight is no longer strong enough for photosynthesis, but it has not yet completely disappeared. What remains is something dim and blue, a kind of eternal twilight, a color that has no equivalent on land, a quality of light that is both beautiful and faintly melancholy. as though the sun is saying goodbye in the gentlest possible way. This is the mesopelagic zone, the twilight zone. It extends from approximately 200 to 1,000 meters below the surface. In this twilight, creatures have adapted to an existence defined by gradients. Gradients of light, the faint, shifting blue above versus the absolute darkness below. Gradients of temperature. The water here is significantly colder than the surface, and the thermocline, the boundary layer where temperature drops sharply, passes through this zone like a wall of cold. Gradients of pressure. At 500 meters, the pressure is about 50 times what you experience at sea level, and every descent adds more. The creatures of the twilight zone are among the most extraordinary on Earth, and they are among the least known because this zone is too deep for easy diving and too shallow and too vast for efficient exploration with deep-sea submersibles. It is, in a sense, one of the true frontiers of biology, a place we know exists, know is full of life, but have not yet systematically mapped or cataloged. What we do know is this: every night, in what is called the diel-vertical migration, organisms from the twilight zone rise toward the surface to feed in the darkness when the absence of light makes them safer from visual predators. And every dawn, they descend again, down, away from the light, back into the cold, dim water where they spend their days. This migration is the largest daily movement of animals on Earth. Not the migration of wildebeest across the Serengeti, not the flight of monarch butterflies across North America, but the daily vertical pulse of billions of creatures moving up through hundreds of meters of water every night and back down every morning. A breathing movement, a planetary rhythm, something that has been happening in the ocean every single day for millions of years, invisible to most of human history, known to science only in the past century. The total biomass involved in this migration is staggering. Hundreds of millions of tons of organisms, fish and squid and shrimp and copepods and krill and jellyfish and creatures that have no common name because most people will never need to name them. All of them moving in coordinated response to the light, participating in a daily drama that shapes the chemistry of the ocean in profound ways, transporting carbon from the surface into the deep in a process that is a significant part of how the ocean regulates the planet's atmosphere. All of it happening below us every night in the dark. Right now, as you lie there in the quiet of your room, billions of small creatures are descending in the Atlantic, in the Pacific, in the Indian Ocean, in the Arctic and Antarctic waters, going down into the cold and the pressure, carrying with them the carbon they consumed at the surface, returning to the dark. There is something about that image, the quiet, massive, purposeful descent of so much life into the deep every morning, that feels like a kind of sleep, like the ocean breathing in and settling and going quiet for the day. Let your body sink a little deeper wherever you are. Let the image of the twilight water carry you, that dim, blue, fathomless quality of light that is neither day nor night, that exists only in the middle depths, that no human eye ever saw before the age of submarines and deep-sea cameras. It is very peaceful in the twilight zone, or at least it is peaceful in the way that all ancient, slow, pressured places are peaceful, in the way that something undisturbed is peaceful. The sounds that penetrate to 200 meters are very different from the sounds at the surface. The surface is loud, waves and wind and ship propellers, in the sonic chaos of the interface between ocean and atmosphere. But at depth, the water filters those sounds, and what remains is a low, continuous, complex acoustic landscape: the distant creaking of the earth, the low-frequency calls of whales traveling hundreds of kilometers, the clicks and pops of fish communicating in the dark. The ocean is not silent. It is extraordinarily full of sound. Sound travels much faster in water than in air, about 4.5 times faster. And because water is so much denser than air, it carries sound over enormous distances. Whale calls can travel thousands of kilometers through the deep sound channel, a layer of water at a specific depth where the speed of sound is at a minimum and where sound waves become trapped in a kind of acoustic waveguide, bouncing between the upper and lower thermal layers and traveling far beyond what any sound can achieve in open air. Through this channel, a blue whale calling in the Pacific might be heard, in theory, by another blue whale in the Atlantic. Not clearly, not as a crisp message with identifiable content, but as a presence, a low, vibrating, deeply felt presence that the receiving whale might perceive less as sound and more as sensation, a vibration in the water, a feeling of another living thing at a distance measured in ocean basins, the loneliness and the connection of that simultaneously, to be separated from another of your kind by 6,000 kilometers of water, and still be in a kind of acoustic contact, to call out into a sea that is dark and cold and enormous, and to have the water itself carry something of you forward, thinned and softened and altered by the miles, but still traveling, still arriving somewhere. Whales have been doing this for tens of millions of years. The acoustic environment of the deep ocean is ancient. The channels that carry the sound were carved by the physical properties of seawater, long before any whale evolved to use them. And when the first proto-whale descended into the sea, when those terrestrial mammals descended from something not entirely unlike an otter or a hippo, gradually adapted over millions of years to an aquatic life, they found a medium that could carry their voices to the horizon and beyond. They found that the ocean was already, in some sense, a communication network, already a vast, low-frequency medium waiting for something to speak through it. The blue whale deserves to be held in silence for a moment. It is the largest animal that has ever lived on Earth. Not the largest known, the largest, including all the dinosaurs, including every creature in the 100 million years of the age of reptiles, including every living thing whose bones or impressions have been found in every rock layer on every continent. The blue whale, living today in the cold waters of the world's oceans, is the largest animal the Earth has ever produced. An adult blue whale can reach 30 meters in length. 30 meters, the length of 3 school buses arranged end to end. The weight of approximately 200 tons, the equivalent of roughly 35 elephants, or several 100,000 human beings worth of mass, organized into a single living body. The heart of a blue whale is the size of a small car. The aorta, the main artery leaving the heart, is wide enough that a human child could crawl through it. The tongue alone weighs as much as an elephant, and these enormous animals subsist primarily on krill. Krill are small, shrimp-like crustaceans, typically a few centimeters long. A blue whale eats approximately 4 tons of krill per day during feeding season. It does this by opening its enormous mouth and lunging forward through dense concentrations of krill, taking in water at enormous volume, and then pushing the water out through the baleen plates that hang from its upper jaw like the teeth of a giant comb, trapping the krill inside. The contrast, the vast scale of the animal and the tiny scale of its food, is one of those things about the ocean that feels like it should be a metaphor for something. Like the universe is making a point about the relationship between enormity and smallness, about how the largest things in the world can depend entirely on things that are almost invisible, about how the apparent hierarchy of size doesn't map cleanly onto the actual hierarchy of importance. The krill feeds the whale. Without the krill, there would be no whale. And the krill exists because of the phytoplankton, those microscopic organisms that produce half the planet's oxygen, and that are themselves smaller than the period at the end of this sentence. The whole food chain, from the invisible to the enormous, held together by chemistry and water and light. Blue whales were once abundant in the world's oceans, before industrial whaling reduced their populations by more than 90% in the 19th and early 20th centuries. There may have been hundreds of thousands of them. Now, despite decades of protection since the commercial whaling ban in 1966, the blue whale population is estimated to be somewhere between 10,000 and 25,000 individuals. In all of the world's oceans, every ocean, that is a number that is both reassuring. It is larger than it was in the darkest years of the hunting, and quietly heartbreaking. The largest animal ever to exist on Earth, reduced to something between 10 and 25,000 individuals, scattered through the vast cold water of the planet. When you hear a recording of a blue whale's call, that extraordinarily low, sustained, resonant sound, pitched so deep that it is the edge of human hearing, felt more in the chest than heard by the ears, it carries something of that history, of the enormity of what these animals are, and the fragility of what remains. Let that thought drift away slowly, like something released from your hands. The night is soft around you. Your body is still, and the stillness is good. We are going deeper now, past the twilight zone, past the last hint of surface light, into something that most human beings will never experience directly, and that only the smallest fraction of the ocean has ever been explored. Below 1,000 meters, there is no light at all. Not dimness, not shadow, not the kind of darkness you experience in a room with the curtains drawn, where enough ambient light leaks around edges to let your eyes eventually adjust. True darkness, the kind of darkness that no amount of adjustment makes better. The kind of darkness that exists in only a few places in the human experience. Deep caves, sealed rooms, the backs of closets in childhood, and that triggers something instinctive, something old and cautious, somewhere in the middle of the brain, the bathypelagic zone, the midnight zone, from 1,000 to 4,000 meters below the surface. The temperature here is typically between 1 and 4 degrees Celsius, just above freezing, cold in the way that deep winters are cold. The kind of cold that settles into things and stays, that requires something very specific to overcome. The pressure at 1,000 meters is approximately 100 times the atmospheric pressure at the surface. At 4,000 meters, it is 400 times. These are pressures that compress materials, that require specialized engineering to resist that the human body would not survive for a fraction of a second without protection. And yet, life is everywhere. This is perhaps the single most astonishing thing about the deep ocean, and it bears being held for a very long time before moving on. The midnight zone, cold, dark, highly pressured, far from any source of sunlight or photosynthesis, is alive, profoundly, diversely, extraordinarily alive. The organisms here have adapted to conditions that would kill virtually every other living thing on Earth. Pressure that would crush a submarine. Cold that would stop most biochemical reactions. Absolute darkness that makes vision, in the ordinary sense, useless. Food scarcity that would starve any surface-dwelling creature. And they have not merely survived these conditions. They have thrived. They have diversified. They have evolved extraordinary biological innovations that allow them to function not just adequately, but with remarkable efficiency in an environment that seems designed to prevent life. This is one of the deepest biological lessons the ocean teaches. Life is not fragile. Life is, in fact, one of the most tenacious, adaptable, creative forces in the known universe. Given any energy source, any liquid water, any chemical gradient that can drive a reaction, life has found ways to exist. The midnight zone has all of these things in abundance. The pressure is high, but pressure alone does not prevent chemistry. The cold is extreme, but cold slows metabolism in ways that can be adapted to. Organisms that live in the deep have enzymes that function precisely in cold conditions that would denature enzymes from warmer environments. The darkness is absolute, but darkness is simply the absence of one particular energy source, and life has found others. Life does not require sunlight. It requires energy. The midnight zone has energy in multiple forms. The slow fall of organic material from the surface, the marine snow, the drifting particles of dead organisms and fecal matter, and shed skin that float down from above in a continuous, silent rain. The chemical gradients at hydrothermal vents, the bodies of large organisms that occasionally descend to the seafloor as whale falls and immediately become sites of extraordinary biological activity. And so the midnight zone is alive, silently, pressurefully, coldly, completely alive. Marine snow. Even the name is gentle, poetic, the name of something that sounds like it belongs in a snow globe. Delicate and floating and slow. Marine snow is the constant, gentle rain of organic material that falls from the surface ocean toward the deep. It is made of many things. The dead bodies of phytoplankton and zooplankton, too small individually to settle quickly on their own, but clumped together into aggregates by the physics of the water. Fecal pellets from zooplankton, tiny, dense, nutritious packages that sink more quickly than the organisms that produce them. Shed scales, mucus, the fragments of things that lived and died in the sunlit water above. It falls very slowly. A particle of marine snow typically sinks at a rate of about 1 to 200 meters per day. That means that material produced at the surface might take weeks or even months to reach the deepest parts of the ocean floor. It drifts as it falls, carried sideways by slow, deep currents, consumed partially by organisms it encounters along the way, transformed by microbial activity into different chemical forms. By the time it reaches the bottom, it is profoundly altered from what it was when it left the surface. But what remains still carries carbon, still carries the chemical potential that was encoded in it when a phytoplankton cell in the sunlit zone fixed it from carbon dioxide through photosynthesis. This is the biological pump, the ocean's primary mechanism for moving carbon from the surface, where the atmosphere and the sea exchange gases, down into the deep, where the carbon can be sequestered for centuries or millennia before returning to the surface. Every particle of marine snow that makes it all the way to the seafloor and gets buried in the sediment removes carbon from the atmospheric cycle for thousands of years. The ocean, through the daily lives and deaths of microscopic organisms, is one of the most important carbon sinks on the planet. It has been absorbing a significant fraction of the carbon dioxide produced by human industrial activity since the beginning of the industrial age. It has been buffering the climate in ways that are only now being fully quantified. And it does this through marine snow, through the gentle, continuous, patient fall of tiny things from the light toward the dark. If you could watch it, if you could somehow be suspended at 500 meters in the midnight zone and look up, letting your eyes adjust to the near total absence of light, you would see it, not clearly, not brightly, but by the bioluminescence of the organisms in the water around you. You might make out the faint drift of particles, endlessly descending, a snowstorm in slow motion, each particle carrying something of the surface down toward the floor. It is one of the most beautiful things I can imagine. This endless, patient, molecular snowfall, carrying the chemistry of the sunlit world downward into the dark, where it will eventually become part of the sediment, part of the rock, part of the long geological memory of the earth. Let your breathing slow even more. Let the image of the marine snow carry you, that gentle, dim, endless drift of small things, falling through the dark water. There is no rush to it. There has never been a rush to it. It has been falling since the ocean's surface first grew rich with life. And it will fall long after tonight, long after this voice has fallen silent. You are in good company with the slow things, the patient things, the things that take their time and arrive where they are going eventually. There is light in the deep ocean, not sunlight. Sunlight vanishes long before this depth. This is something different, something that the organisms themselves make. Bioluminescence, the production of light by living organisms through chemical reactions that involve a molecule called luciferin and an enzyme called luciferase, producing what is sometimes described as cold light, light that contains almost no heat, that is extraordinarily energy efficient compared to the light produced by any artificial source we have ever made. It is estimated that more than 75% of deep-sea organisms are bioluminescent. Some estimates put the number higher. Possibly 90% of organisms living in the midnight zone produce light in some form. This means that the deep ocean, for all its absolute darkness, is in constant, living, biological illumination. Not bright illumination, not the illumination of sunlight or even moonlight, but the cold, specific, purposeful light of organisms communicating with each other through chemistry. The uses of bioluminescence in the deep ocean are as diverse as the organisms that produce it. Some fish use it as a lure. The anglerfish, perhaps the most famous example, carries a luminescent organ dangling from a modified dorsal fin in front of its mouth, like a fishing rod tipped with its own lantern. The light attracts smaller organisms in the darkness, drawn by the unexpected promise of illumination. and the anglerfish simply waits, in the absolute dark, with infinite patience, the light doing the work of hunting for it. Some organisms use bioluminescence for communication. Certain species of deep-sea squid produce intricate patterns of light across their skin, sequences of flashing that carry information about identity, reproductive readiness, territorial presence. They are writing in light, in the dark, to each other. Some use it for camouflage, which seems paradoxical until you understand the principle. From above, in the dim upper layers of the deep, a silhouette of a fish against the slightly brighter water above it would be visible to a predator looking up. But if the underside of the fish produces a soft light that matches the ambient illumination from above, the silhouette disappears. The fish becomes invisible not by becoming dark, but by becoming light. Counter-illumination. The ocean invented active camouflage long before human engineers began dreaming of it. Some organisms produce bioluminescence as a startle response, a sudden bright flash when disturbed, designed to blind or confuse a predator for the fraction of a second needed to escape, or to illuminate the predator, attracting the attention of the predator's own predators to it, a kind of biological alarm system. The diversity of uses is extraordinary. Evolution, given enough time in the dark with enough pressure to produce solutions to survival challenges, has found an enormous number of ways to make light useful. Light as weapon, light as lure, light as language, light as camouflage, light as alarm, and the result is that the deep ocean, absolutely dark from the perspective of sunlight, is lit at every moment by millions of tiny cold flames, by organisms speaking to each other in pulses and flashes and steady glows across the immensity of the abyss. The ocean is not dark, not really, not in the way we imagine when we say the word. It is lit from within by life, in a language we are only beginning to learn to read. The anglerfish carries something in its biology that is worth dwelling on. Not just the lure, though the lure is remarkable enough, but something about the way the deep-sea anglerfish reproduces, which is one of the strangest and most biologically extreme reproductive strategies in the animal kingdom. The anglerfish you are most likely to have seen in a photograph or illustration is a female, large, round, fang-toothed, carrying her luminescent lure like a perverse lantern. She is the anglerfish of nightmares, of children's books, of deep-sea documentary imagery. She can be up to a meter long in some species, and she is a remarkably effective predator. The male anglerfish is something else entirely. He is tiny, in some species, less than 3 centimeters long, roughly the length of a paperclip. He hatches from his egg and spends his larval life in the open water with no functional digestive system, surviving on the yolk reserve from his egg. He has large, well-developed eyes and an extraordinarily sensitive nose. Because his entire biological purpose, the one task his brief, independent life is organized around, is to find a female before he runs out of resources. When he finds her, guided by the pheromones she releases into the water, navigating through absolute darkness toward a chemical gradient that promises survival, he bites her. He bites her skin and releases an enzyme that begins dissolving the tissue of his jaw into hers. His circulatory system fuses with hers. His organs begin to atrophy, all of them except the testes. His eyes deteriorate. His brain simplifies. His body, over the course of weeks, becomes an appendage of the female. a small lump on her skin that is no longer meaningfully an independent organism, but a source of sperm that she carries with her, essentially, permanently, for the rest of her life. He becomes part of her. In some species, a single female may carry multiple males fused to her body at once. Up to 8 have been found on a single individual. The first scientist to observe a female anglerfish in the deep saw the attached males and didn't understand what they were. Some early descriptions assumed the attached lumps were parasites, small organisms that had attached to the female and were feeding from her bloodstream. It took careful analysis to reveal that the parasites were actually males of the same species, so extensively transformed by the fusion process that they no longer resembled the fish they had been. The biology is extreme, but it is also, in its own deep ocean logic, beautiful. In an environment where meetings between individuals are extraordinarily rare, where the density of organisms in the abyss is so low that 2 individuals of the same species might go years without encountering each other, the strategy of permanent fusion ensures that when meeting happens, reproduction is always possible thereafter. The encounter cost is paid once, and the reproductive capacity is maintained indefinitely. The ocean invents solutions that nothing on land has needed to invent. The ocean has had more time, more pressure, more extreme conditions, and more isolation to work with. The results are sometimes terrifying, sometimes alien, sometimes strangely, quietly wonderful. Let your body be still. The deep ocean is still around you, in the imagination, in the way that vast, quiet things can be still, even while being full of life. The pressureful, cold, dark water, lit by a million tiny chemical flames, full of things that have been there much longer than we have, solving their problems in ways that evolution discovered long before any human mind thought to ask the questions. There is something deeply restful about the thought of the deep ocean existing without us. The midnight zone has never needed us. The organisms there don't know we exist and would not be different if we didn't. The marine snow falls, whether we are watching or not. The anglerfish lures whatever swims toward her light, whether anyone above knows it is happening. The ocean is fundamentally indifferent to human attention, and there is a strange comfort in that indifference. We are not needed there. We are not missed. The deep simply continues, as it has continued, vast and patient and profoundly, silently itself. The deepest place on Earth has a name, the Challenger Deep, located in the Mariana Trench in the western Pacific Ocean. East of the Mariana Islands, it reaches a depth of approximately 10,935 meters, nearly 11 kilometers below the surface of the sea. 11 kilometers, Mount Everest, the highest point on the Earth's surface, stands at 8,849 meters. You could take Mount Everest and drop it into the Challenger Deep, and it would sink without a trace, the peak disappearing more than 2 kilometers below the waterline. The Mariana Trench was formed by a geological process called subduction, the movement of one tectonic plate beneath another. Where the Pacific Plate meets the Mariana Plate and slides underneath it, being forced down into the mantle of the Earth, a trench forms at the surface, a great scar in the ocean floor, a wound in the Earth's crust, curving for thousands of kilometers across the western Pacific. At the bottom of the Challenger Deep, the pressure is approximately 1,086 times atmospheric pressure at sea level. This is not a number that maps onto human experience in any useful way. We experience about 10 times this pressure when we dive to the bottom of a 10-meter swimming pool, a depth that requires care but is not dangerous to a healthy swimmer. 11 kilometers produces pressure that is 100 times greater than that already extreme depth. It requires specially engineered vessels, meters of steel hull, careful ballasting, and extremely precise engineering to survive. And even then, the vehicles that have made it to the bottom are among the most technically demanding objects ever built. 3 people have descended to the bottom of the Challenger Deep. 3. More human beings have walked on the moon than have reached the deepest point in the ocean. In 1960, Don Walsh and Jacques Picard descended in the bathyscaphe Trieste, a vehicle designed by Auguste Picard, Jacques' father, and spent 20 minutes at the bottom before ascending. Then, 52 years passed before anyone went again. In 2012, filmmaker James Cameron descended alone in a specially designed submersible and spent 3 hours on the floor of the Challenger Deep. 3 people in 60 years to the deepest point in the world's ocean. This puts the state of deep-sea exploration in a rather clear perspective. The ocean floor is genuinely, practically unexplored. The total seafloor area of the Earth is approximately 361 million square kilometers. As of the most recent estimates, less than 25% of it has been mapped with high-resolution sonar. The rest is known only at the broad, low-resolution level. We know approximately where mountains and trenches are, but not the details of their topography, not the specific formations and features, not the biology that lives on them. More of the moon's surface has been mapped in high resolution than the floor of our own ocean. There are mountains on the seafloor, taller than any mountain on land, mountain ranges longer than any on the continents, the mid-ocean ridge system, the chain of underwater volcanic mountains that runs along the floor of every ocean basin, is the longest mountain range on Earth, more than 40,000 kilometers long, and most of it has never been directly observed by any human being. We don't know what is down there. We genuinely, simply do not know, not because the question hasn't been asked, but because the technology required to answer it is difficult and expensive, and the ocean is vast. And so the work proceeds slowly, and the maps are slowly filled in. And every expedition that reaches a new part of the deep floor finds organisms that were not known to science before. Everyone. There has never been a deep-sea expedition that failed to discover new species. Not once, because the ocean is so large and so unexplored that anywhere you go that humans haven't been before, you find things that haven't been described, cataloged, named, understood. The deep sea is almost certainly home to millions of species that have never been observed. The number of undescribed species in the deep ocean is, by some estimates, in the millions. Millions of forms of life on our own planet that we don't know exist. In 1977, something happened that permanently changed how we understand the relationship between life and energy on this planet. A team of researchers aboard the research vessel Canor, exploring the seafloor near the Galapagos Islands in the Eastern Pacific, sent down a camera sled at a depth of approximately 2,500 meters. What they saw in the images that came back changed biology forever. Hydrothermal vents, chimneys of superheated water billowing from cracks in the seafloor. Water so hot, sometimes exceeding 400 degrees Celsius, that it should have been steam. But at that depth, the extreme pressure keeps it liquid, keeps it dense, keeps it mineralized with sulfur and metal compounds that precipitate out as it meets the cold surrounding water, building the black or white or pale yellow chimneys that the camera first captured in 1977. The discovery of the vents was itself remarkable. A geological finding about the circulation of water through the Earth's crust, about the mechanism by which the planet loses heat, about the chemistry of the seafloor. But what was truly revolutionary, what changed biology in the definition of life, and eventually the search for life on other planets, was what was living around those vents. There shouldn't have been anything. All life, as understood to that point, depended ultimately on photosynthesis, on the capture of solar energy and its conversion into biological molecules. Even in the dark, even in caves, even in the deepest soil, every organism traced its energy back through the food chain to sunlight. Sunlight was the foundational energy source for all known life. The hydrothermal vents were surrounded by dense, rich, diverse communities of organisms, mats of bacteria, tube worms up to 2 meters long in their white, chitinous tubes. Their red plume-like gills extended into the vent water. Giant clams, crabs, shrimp, fish, an entire ecosystem, rich and productive and complex in the complete absence of sunlight. Thousands of meters below the reach of any solar energy whatsoever. And the energy source? Chemistry. The bacteria at the base of the vent ecosystem are chemosynthetic. They derive energy not from light, but from the chemical reactions between hydrogen sulfide, the compound in the vent fluid that smells of rotten eggs, and oxygen dissolved in the surrounding seawater. They use this chemical energy to fix carbon dioxide into organic molecules, the same fundamental process as photosynthesis, but powered by chemistry instead of light. Life had found a second way, a way that didn't require the sun, a way that could function in total darkness, in extreme temperature and pressure, at the bottom of the ocean, far from any input from the surface world. A self-contained biological economy, running on heat from the interior of the Earth rather than light from the star above it. The implications of this discovery are still being unfolded. It has changed the search for life on other planets. If life can exist around hydrothermal vents on Earth in conditions that resemble the environments believed to exist under the ice of Europa, a moon of Jupiter, or Enceladus, a moon of Saturn, then the probability of life existing in those distant, cold, dark, ocean-bearing worlds is significantly higher than it was before 1977. It has changed the definition of the habitable zone, the range of conditions within which life is possible. It has changed how we think about the origins of life on Earth. Some researchers now propose that life itself may have begun at hydrothermal vents, where chemical gradients provided the energy for the first self-replicating molecules, where mineral surfaces in the vent chimneys may have acted as a scaffold for the first primitive metabolic chemistry. Life at the origin of everything. Life in the dark. The tube worms at hydrothermal vents deserve their own moment of quiet attention. They are called vestimentiferans in the scientific literature, though that name will not be what stays with you. What will stay with you is this: They are up to 2 meters long. They have no mouth, no digestive system, no stomach, no intestines. They are, in terms of basic animal anatomy, profoundly incomplete. A tube worm is essentially a tube of tissue containing a large organ called a trophosome, an organ packed with chemosynthetic bacteria, and a gill-like plume for absorbing hydrogen sulfide and oxygen from the surrounding water and delivering them to the bacteria inside. The bacteria do the metabolic work. The worm provides housing and supplies. It is a partnership, a symbiosis so deep that the 2 organisms have co-evolved into something that neither could be without the other. The bacteria are not separate organisms living inside the worm in the way that gut bacteria are separate organisms living inside a human. They are constitutive. They are part of what the worm is, functionally and metabolically indispensable. And this partnership can sustain a tube worm for an extraordinarily long time. The giant tube worm, Riftia pachyptila, is one of the fastest growing marine invertebrates known. It can grow up to 30 centimeters in a year in ideal vent conditions. But other tube worm species, in other deep environments, live for centuries. There are tube worms in cold seep environments, areas where methane and other gases seep slowly from the seafloor, supporting similar chemosynthetic communities that have been estimated to live for 200 to 300 years. 300 years. A tube worm attached to the seafloor in the darkness, sustained by bacteria within it, feeding on the chemical gradient of the seep water, living quietly through centuries of deep cold, without light or warmth, or the seasons that mark time on the surface. Born before the American Revolution, still alive, still feeding, still holding its place in the cold sediment of the seafloor. Time moves differently in the deep, without seasons, without the light cycles that drive the circadian rhythms of surface organisms, without the cues that tell surface creatures when to migrate and when to breed and when to die. The organisms of the deep ocean exist in a kind of temporal suspension. Their lives are long. Their metabolisms are slow. Their biological clocks run on different time than ours. Some organisms in the deep ocean live for centuries. The Greenland shark, not a vent organism, but a creature of the cold, deep Arctic waters, can live for nearly 5 centuries. The oldest known Greenland shark was estimated, through carbon dating of proteins in the lens of its eye, to be approximately 400 years old. Possibly older, it was born in the 1600s. It has been swimming slowly through cold, dark water, through the entire history of modern science, through Newton and Darwin and Einstein, and every discovery we have made about the universe since the age of exploration. And it is still out there, swimming, old beyond ordinary comprehension, moving through the dark water with the unhurried patience of something that knows it has time. The ocean holds so many kinds of patience. The patience of the Greenland shark, centuries old, moving through cold water without hurry. The patience of the tube worm, anchored to the seafloor, sustained by chemistry, outlasting centuries. The patience of the hydrothermal vent itself, which remains active for decades or hundreds of years before the geological processes that feed it shift, and the vent goes dark, and the community around it slowly disperses or dies, and the seafloor returns to bare stone, and marine snow begins to settle on it again. The patience of the ocean itself, which has been doing all of this, cycling its currents, driving its chemistry, sustaining its biology, absorbing its heat and carbon for billions of years, and which will continue long after the last human has drawn the last breath. There is something settling about that thought, if you let it be settling rather than melancholy. The ocean doesn't need to hurry. It doesn't need to get anywhere. It is already everywhere it is going to be. It is already everything it is, and within it, life continues without urgency. The slow growth, the long lives, the patient waiting for conditions to be right. And none of it requires anyone to be watching. The ocean is doing its work right now. As you lie in the dark, the currents are moving. The marine snow is falling. The bioluminescent organisms are flashing their cold signals to each other in the abyss. The vents are billowing. The tube worms are breathing. The Greenland shark is swimming its slow circle through the Arctic water. All of it without you. All of it beautifully and completely without you. And that means that you don't need to do anything. You don't need to manage or maintain or sustain any of it. It will go on without you tonight, as it has every night of your life, as it went on every night of all the human nights before yours. You can simply be here, simply rest. A whale fall is one of the most extraordinary events in the ecology of the deep ocean. When a whale dies, when one of the largest organisms on Earth draws its last breath at the surface and begins to sink, it sets in motion a biological drama that will play out over decades on the seafloor below. The body descends. In the upper water column, the gases produced by the beginning of decomposition may keep the carcass buoyant for a time. But eventually, the gases dissipate or the body deflates, and it sinks, slowly, ponderously, one of the largest single objects to fall through the water column in a year or a decade or more in that particular part of the ocean. The descent takes weeks. The body sinks at approximately a centimeter per second in the denser deep water, drifting, settling, occasionally disoriented by currents. It is attended, in the upper zones, by sharks and other scavengers. Pieces are taken. The body becomes lighter. It sinks faster as it becomes less buoyant. Eventually, it reaches the floor. And then, something extraordinary begins. The whale fall, the technical term for this event, and its aftermath, proceeds through a series of ecological stages that can last, in total, for more than a century. The first stage is the mobile scavenger stage. Within hours of the body arriving on the seafloor, organisms detected: sleeper sharks and hagfish and rat-tail fish, drawn by the chemical plume that the decomposing body releases into the water, spreading from the carcass in a slow drift that travels for kilometers. They arrive and begin consuming the soft tissue. This stage can last for months to years, until the soft tissue is stripped away and only the bones remain. The second stage is the enrichment opportunist stage. Once the large scavengers have taken the soft tissue, smaller organisms colonize the remaining material. Crustaceans and polychaete worms and other invertebrates exploit the bones and the surrounding sediment, which has been enriched by the nutrients that leaked from the decomposing body. This stage may last for years. The third stage is the sulfophilic stage, and this is where the whale fall becomes something truly remarkable. As the lipids, the fats, within the bones begin to be broken down by bacteria, they produce hydrogen sulfide, the same compound that feeds chemosynthetic bacteria. At hydrothermal vents, the whale bones become a kind of temporary vent. a cold seep in miniature, and the same community of organisms that lives around hydrothermal vents and cold seeps, chemosynthetic bacteria, and the organisms that depend on them, begins to colonize the whale fall. The whale, in death, becomes a vent. It becomes an island of energy in the abyss, sustaining a rich and complex community for decades or more than a century. And some researchers have proposed that whale falls may have been stepping stones in the deep ocean for the colonization of hydrothermal vent communities. That the rare and scattered vent habitats might have been connected across the ocean floor by a network of occasional whale falls, allowing organisms adapted to chemosynthetic environments to move between vent sites by hopping from fall to fall across geological time. The whale, in life, eats. In death, feeds. The ecology of the deep ocean would be different, less connected, less diverse, without the occasional gift of a whale descending to the floor. It is a kind of generosity that is entirely unconscious, entirely physical, entirely the result of chemistry and gravity. But it functions in the ecosystem exactly as generosity functions in a community. It creates connection. It sustains life that would otherwise have difficulty surviving. It makes possible, in places that might otherwise be empty, a richness of living things. Your body is very heavy now. The good kind of heavy, the settled, released, completely supported kind. The kind where every part of you is exactly where it should be, and there is nowhere it needs to go. Let your thoughts become softer. The ocean is deep beneath you, even now, beneath the continent or the island where you sleep, beneath the bedrock and the mantle, the water pressing its enormous weight against the floor of the sea. Somewhere out there, not impossibly far, the continental shelf drops away and the depth begins. And the water gets colder and darker, and the organisms of the midnight zone are going about their ancient business in the dark. Let that be a comfort. The ocean is large enough to hold everything. There is a creature in the deep ocean that produces no light of its own. It is the vampire squid, Vampiroteuthis infernalis, which translates with delightful scientific directness as vampire squid from hell. Despite the name, it is not particularly threatening and is not closely related to either true squids or true octopuses. It occupies its own separate order, an evolutionary lineage that branched from the ancestors of both squids and octopuses hundreds of millions of years ago. It lives in the oxygen minimum zone of the deep ocean, a layer of water where the dissolved oxygen content is so low that most fish cannot survive. The vampire squid, however, has evolved a hemocyanin, the copper-based equivalent of hemoglobin, that binds oxygen with extraordinary efficiency, allowing it to extract enough oxygen to survive in water that would suffocate other animals. It has essentially claimed an environmental refuge. By living where nothing else can, it has escaped competition and predation. It is deep red to black in color, with large blue eyes, the largest eyes, relative to body size, of any animal on Earth. It spreads a webbed cloak between its arms when threatened. The inner surface of the cloak studded with bioluminescent photophores that it can control, turning on and off in patterns. When disturbed, it can eject a cloud of bioluminescent mucus instead of ink, a glowing cloud that lingers in the water and may confuse or distract a predator while the vampire squid retreats. It feeds not by hunting, but by drifting. It uses sticky, hair-like filaments, called velar filaments to collect marine snow. Particles, the slow, patient drift of organic material falling from above. It is one of the few cephalopods, the group that includes the notoriously intelligent octopuses, that does not hunt live prey as its primary food source. In the oxygen minimum zone, where there is little energy to spare, it has evolved the most energy-efficient foraging strategy imaginable. Let the food come to you. Let it drift down. Wait. Collect. There is a kind of philosophy in that, a deep ocean wisdom, the recognition that patience, in the right environment, is not passivity, but strategy. That in a world where energy is scarce and movement is expensive, and the resources flow according to physics rather than according to your schedule, the most effective thing you can do is be in the right place, position correctly, and let the current bring what you need. The vampire squid has been doing this for a very long time. The lineage traces back at least 300 million years. They were in the ocean before the dinosaurs, before the mammals, before the flowering plants, before most of the living world as we know it today. They drifted then in ancient waters. They drift now. There is a sound in the ocean that no one could explain for 30 years. It was first detected in 1997 by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, using an array of hydrophones placed in the Pacific Ocean, a network of underwater microphones originally built to monitor Soviet submarine activity during the Cold War, but repurposed after the Cold War for scientific use to monitor the acoustics of the deep ocean. The sound was extraordinarily loud, low in frequency, longer in duration than any known biological sound. It was detected by hydrophones more than 5,000 kilometers apart, meaning whatever produced it was loud enough to be heard across half an ocean. Scientists called it the bloop. The bloop was analyzed and discussed and speculated about for years. Its frequency profile, the way its sound rose and then descended, was reminiscent of biological sounds, of the calls produced by large animals, and some enthusiastic speculation suggested that it might be produced by an unknown animal of enormous size, something in the deep ocean, large enough to produce a sound that could be heard across 5,000 kilometers. The ocean does this to imagination. It opens the door, even among rigorous scientists, to the possibility of the unknown, because the unknown is so genuinely large in the deep sea, because every decade brings new discoveries of things that shouldn't exist and do exist, things that are stranger than anything imagined, things that make you reconsider what you thought you knew about the limits of life. The bloop, however, turned out to have a more prosaic explanation. In 2012, after further analysis in comparison with similar sounds detected in other parts of the Southern Ocean, scientists concluded that the bloop was almost certainly the sound of a large ice quake, ice cracking and fracturing off the Antarctic ice shelf, a process that produces sounds that travel enormous distances through the ocean's deep sound channel. Not a sea monster, ice, but the bloop is still a useful story because it illustrates how genuinely unknown the acoustic landscape of the deep ocean is, how large the catalog of unexplained sounds remains, how many signals are detected by the hydrophone arrays that have not yet been assigned to a known source, how much of what the ocean is saying, in its complex, continuous, deep acoustic language. We have not yet learned to read. The ocean is speaking, constantly. We are only beginning to understand what it is saying. The octopus is one of the ocean's great intelligences, not deep ocean specifically. Most octopus species live in shallower coastal waters, though there are deep-sea species adapted to abyssal conditions. But the octopus represents something important about the ocean's capacity to produce minds, about the fact that intelligence, as a biological solution to the problem of navigating a complex environment, can arise along evolutionary paths very different from the one that led to our own intelligence. The common octopus has approximately 500 million neurons. For context, a mouse has approximately 71 million. A honeybee has about 1 million. A nematode worm has 302. Exactly, always, every individual. The only multicellular organism whose entire neural architecture has been completely mapped. The octopus has 500 million neurons, and roughly 2/3 of them are not in the brain. They are distributed throughout the arms, approximately 67 million per arm, forming a kind of semi-autonomous neural network that allows each arm to process information and respond to its environment locally, without consulting the central brain for every decision. An octopus arm can taste what it touches. It can feel pressure and texture and temperature with sensitivity comparable to our fingertips. And it can make basic decisions: move toward food, avoid an obstacle, grasp and manipulate an object on the basis of local neural processing without waiting for instruction from the central brain. The octopus, in a sense, has 8 semi-autonomous minds cooperating within a single body. The implications of this distributed intelligence for octopus cognition are still being worked out. It is extraordinarily difficult to study the subjective experience, if any, of an animal whose neural architecture is so different from ours. When we study mammalian cognition, we at least have the shared foundation of a centralized brain, a limbic system, certain conserved neural structures. When we study octopus cognition, we are looking at something that arrived at intelligence by an entirely independent route, whose last common ancestor with us was a flatworm, hundreds of millions of years ago. And the tools we have developed to understand cognition may not map onto it cleanly. What we know is that octopuses solve problems. They open jars. They navigate mazes. They learn by observation, watching another octopus open a container and then being able to open it themselves, a form of social learning that was long assumed to require a vertebrate brain. They play. Individuals in laboratory settings have been documented repeatedly tossing an object into a current and retrieving it, apparently for no reason other than the doing of it. They recognize individual human faces and respond differently to people they have had positive experiences with versus negative ones. They dream, possibly. Researchers had documented octopuses in what appears to be sleep, during which their skin, which is continuously, miraculously chromatic, capable of changing color and texture in complex patterns in response to emotion and communication and camouflage. Their skin cycles through rapid sequences of color and texture change, as though playing something back, as though the sleeping octopus is experiencing something that requires its skin to respond to it. The dreaming skin of a sleeping octopus. If that thought doesn't carry you gently somewhere, nothing will. The night is very deep now. The last thoughts are becoming like that, like images rather than sentences, like colors on the inside of closed eyes. like the changing skin of something dreaming. The ocean is there, beyond the window, beyond the continent, enormous and dark and breathing. The currents are moving. The whale calls are traveling through the deep sound channel. Somewhere in the abyss, a small bioluminescent thing is pulsing its cold light into the dark. A tube worm is breathing hydrogen sulfide through its red plume. A vampire squid is drifting, collecting marine snow on its filaments, patient and ancient, and perfectly adapted to a world that is dark and pressured and very, very cold. All of this is happening right now. While you breathe, while you rest, the ocean doesn't know you are listening, and it doesn't need to. It is complete without your attention. It is sufficient and enormous and ancient and continuing. And you are here, in the warm, in the soft dark, in the particular peace of a mind that has been carried far from its daily concerns and set down gently somewhere vast and strange and quietly beautiful. Let your thoughts drift now, the way marine snow drifts, slowly, without hurry. Each thought a little further from the last. Each breath carrying you slightly deeper. The surface is far above you. The ordinary concerns of the day are at the surface, bright and well lit and very far away. Down here it is quiet. Down here the pressure of the world has become simply the pressure of the deep, which is not heavy, but rather like being held, embraced from every side, supported, contained. There is nothing to do now, nothing at all. The deep ocean has been carrying its mysteries for billions of years. The Challenger, deep, has been waiting in the dark for billions of years. The hydrothermal vents have been billowing their chemical smoke for millions of years. The Greenland shark has been circling for centuries. The tube worms have been breathing, slow and ancient, through decades of cold, deep quiet. They are all still doing it now, while you rest. The world is large enough to hold all of its own mysteries without you. Let it. Let everything go. Let the ocean be the ocean. Let the dark be the dark. Let the slow snow of small things drift downward in the cold water, in the absolute silence of the abyss. Let your breath be small and slow and easy. There is no depth you need to reach tonight. You are already exactly where you need to be. Warm, still, held, drifting. The bioluminescent things are pulsing somewhere in the dark water. The whale song is traveling through the deep channel. The octopus is dreaming, its skin moving through colors in the dark. And you are sleeping, quietly, completely. The ocean around you, enormous and ancient, and endlessly, gently moving. Sleep well, and good night.